Hello and happy Friday. Welcome today to our session. Today's discussion is actually one of my favorite. ChiroSpring's all-in-one EHR keeps evolving. The 2025 State of Chiropractic EHRs. My name is Nicole Cowley. I'm a technology enhancement executive here, and I actually started, sorry, excuse me, actually started in the chiropractic EHR world in 2014. So putting these decks or discussions together is one of my favorite because really taking a look back to, how much chiropractic EHRs have evolved now over the past just over a decade. So excited to jump in and dive in today with some of the trends that we're seeing within the EHR landscape, specifically for the chiropractic world. And really, as the landscape evolves, so should your technology and your EHR solution. So, as we deep dive, we're going to go through, as we just mentioned, the latest trends that are shaping the industry here in 2025, how ChiroSpring's ongoing innovations are transforming practice management. Really, technology is helping you leverage things more and more. Practices leveraging their EHR for better patient care and business outcomes, and then unlocking the full potential with your practice technology. So let's dive in here. I have 7 of the latest EHR trends, and cloud-based systems still stands number one. And actually, within the chiropractic world specifically, it's been a really interesting evolution. If anything, a lot of your long-term software systems started as server-based, and so it's not as easy, unfortunately, to just transfer change a code or a program or a database just over to a cloud format. Really generally have to rebuild those things. And so the last EHR that I sold before ChiroSpring, they tried to do that with, it was called a Citrix receiver. So basically it was like an advanced remote in. So it did enhance the experience in the sense that you didn't have to have a server. A lot of the hardware and IT maintenance, that was definitely reduced, but it was really just like an advanced remote PC access. And so still small, still slow. And now you're seeing chiropractic EHR solutions truly being that web browser, your practice anywhere, fast, quick. So even just cloud systems in general, that, how you access the cloud has evolved. And definitely to say not all clouds are created equal. So definitely dive into that for your practice specifically. And then with that, everything talks to everything. So I know, when I started again almost 10 years ago, one of the things that was happening was there were all of these, it was basically like the unbundling. So, there was like a really good EHR documentation program and really good billing programs. And then you started to see different communication and two-way texting and marketing platforms start to come about. And then you saw your care plan and merchant processing and treatment plan programs. And so, chiropractic offices were stacking sometimes 6 and 7 technologies on top of each other that a lot of times did not communicate. They didn't integrate with each other. So, really seeing full system integrations happen. The big one that is 2025 that is really, really, really evolving and changing the landscape fast is AI and machine learning. So your smartest assistant yet, bringing that inside of your technology systems. The other big one I think that is really starting to change the game is patients being in the driver's seat, giving them the engagement tools that they need. So I know I love, just from a patient standpoint, I love having a patient portal. I require the ability to book online. Love my offices where I can pay a statement online, calling or, writing my credit card down on a statement and mailing that in. Just those are things that are going to take me much longer to do. So patient engagement tools are expanding and growing rapidly. Always staying at the core of everything. So playing by the rules, compliance made easy, choosing an EHR that, as these landscapes are evolving this quickly, especially as we talk about patient engagement tools, PHI, HIPAA, right? As we talk about AI, same thing. Really want to make sure keeping your office compliant. Value-based care. So focusing on work. So kind of leaning off that patient engagement tools, as just again, from a patient standpoint, I now have a patient portal. So, I can log in and see my lab work and see my provider's notes and all of those details. So it's really getting, from me as a patient more focused on things. And so I think with that, these tools are going to be able to give you what you need to provide more of that value-based care, whether that's through communications or through specific data. And we're going to talk about that as we go in here more today. And then, what I meant to say in the beginning, before I give the last one out here, if you have any questions or comments as I go through this, please do share. We have the question portal open. We will leave some time here before we end to go through any questions and have an open discussion on all of these things. The seventh one, with all of this, as things expand, as things grow, as technology definitely, leans into giving you more automated workflows, saving you a lot of time, that only happens when it's designed for humans. So user-friendly EHRs, something to definitely look at as you're starting to grow your technology assets or bringing everything in one place, is making sure that it's implementable. You can have all the features in the world, but if you're not using them, what are they really, worth to you? So I want to take a look at now each one of these, just with how ChiroSpring, stacks up. So with ChiroSpring has been cloud-based since its inception. So we've always been a cloud-based system. We haven't always had every feature, function, and integration that we have today, but big thing being that it's always evolving. So ChiroSpring is accessible through any web browser, so truly any device, anywhere, mobile, iPad, tablet, PC, laptop, desktop. Prefer Google Chrome, but you can log in from any, browser window. Sorry, couldn't think of what it was called. We also do have, though, provider and patient mobile apps. So if you're like on your iPhone, you're going to log into ChiroSpring through Safari. The whole software doesn't render down nicely for that mobile device view. With the provider app, it doesn't have all the functions, but you're able to do a lot of things within that app. And then again, it's going to be, just the user friendliness of it. The graphic interface is built for that mobile device. So the provider app, you can, do notes, you can take payments, you can check your schedule, you can add to your schedule. So again, just giving you more flexibility and more accessibility. And then on the patient engagement side of things, the mobile app acts like a patient portal. So you have the opportunity if you want to use that or not. So we find a lot of offices are still somewhere on the spectrum of, I don't want patients to have anything, to some middle of the road, to I would love for patients to be able to do anything and everything, they can through an app. With ChiroSpring, it truly is an all-in-one integrated system. So we have 2-way SMS built in, digital forms. You can truly be as paperless as you want for a practice. Our clearinghouse, we actually have it's called an API, but you don't have to log into a clearinghouse. So a lot of offices I talk with are using Office Ally or using Infinity or using Avility or a number of the other clearinghouse solutions out there. So another system to know, to log into, to manage, to access. With ChiroSpring, our clearinghouse solution is baked right within. So you're submitting you're submitting claims electronically through your EHR. Those ERAs are pulling in real time. Those are auto posting, and then you can take action there. Merchant processing is also fully baked right within your EHR, rather than being an added integrated, which that was one of the first integrations, I think, especially like back when I started in 2014, most EHRs were starting to get, some sort of payment solution that worked with their system. Many of those were partial. You were still needing to log into that other system for reports, for refunds, whatever that may be, to see why something declined. So having all of those things in one place, we'll see here today, gives you more automations, but gives you a true all-in-one EHR. So it's, the most data at your fingertips in one place in real time. ChiroSpring stays ahead of the curve when it comes to technology. So ChiroSpring, actually, when I started working with them, so just almost 4 years now, we already had an AI billing assistant. So the system's able to give you some coding recommendations, give you some expectations on time it's going to take to get paid, likelihood to get paid. We've had that and have been using that. We added this year, really cool, some appointment history. So when you're scheduling a patient, AI is going to start giving you some appointment results. So you can start to track expectations of no-shows, cancellations, needing more appointment reminders. All of these things are so, you can take action to just scale, grow, and manage your practice at a higher level. Really cool. We are not stopping there. So I was involved just recently. We did a company-wide AI hackathon. And it was just a really, really cool experience. Some great ideas came out of that. And so we have the best product and dev teams. They are already behind the scenes, looking at bringing more of that in. We kind of just talked about this a minute ago, but patient engagement, the mobile app is included with your software subscription. You send it to the patients. So, you're in control of, what you want them to have. You can also turn some things off. So you can turn off online scheduling. You can turn off the ability for them to see note history or attachments, but you have all of those features at your fingertips as well. Compliance is a core value at ChiroSpring. So that's one of the big things, as we're rolling things out, and we just talked about AI, really also having a team on the back end look at tools that we're going to integrate with, or systems we're going to build on our own, and making sure those are compliant tools. We give you forms. So you're going to have a full HIPAA consent that's included with the software. You'll see in there's a lot of the language over ensuring your patients know the data that the system's collecting and how it's utilizing that. And then security is the biggest thing, so you're always seeing we actually added some more security layers earlier this year, but also just to state something that is, not thought about often, but huge, is that we are backing up your data for you. One of the things, we take an extra step when we back your data up. We are encrypting it in transit and at rest, but we are not only backing it up to the cloud, we are also backing it up physically through live servers. And I believe they do that across 2 to 3 states. So, just very secure access to your data. Should, again, technology always have to have precautions in place. 6, next up. So we're going to talk about this in just a minute, but 6, value-based care, focus on what works. With those AI models, there's a lot of cool things that are coming down the pipeline and coming down the road that I'm not even fully aware of, but we also have already, we're starting to build out an initiative. So our dev runs an initiative. You're going to see here in just a minute. Reporting initiative is next. So enhanced reporting modules are right around the corner. And then, is ChiroSpring user friendly? I thought the best way, so obviously my answer is yes, but I thought the best way to show this is really just going through a few of our clients and what they have to say. Dr. Larry here, I actually worked with him through the demo process, and his review, I loved it. It was great. I won't go through and read it all, so you could certainly read it there. And if you're watching, you are going to get a link to this recording, so you can always come back and check these things out. But he has a very, very successful practice up in the UP, way up north in Michigan, and he's been on the same software, for almost 20 years, and knows the software, knows it's outdated, but he's been able to work around it. And so definitely switching systems was a big concern. He took some time going through the demo process, but he also knew that he was very outdated in his systems, and some things just needed to do. And one of the biggest things is his daughter who works in his practice was leaving to go on and kind of do things on her own. So he had to hire an outsider. He's getting ready to hire an outside CA slash office manager. And so he just said training someone on his current system was just going to be, not doable. And so he signed up and just went live recently and just has been flying through things, and says one of the biggest things is how easy the system is to use. Here's another one on here, Dr. Joseph. This one's a little more quick and easy, but yeah, awesome, easy to use. Works well with motor vehicle accidents. So keep that in mind, something we're going to talk about here in just a minute. But one of a lot of ChiroSpring, I would say a lot, but a good percentage of our users are PI. And sometimes we have quite a few where all they do is PI, but they love ChiroSpring mostly, hands down, for the documentation side of things. So from a PI side of things, you really need to make sure you have complete, thorough documentation. If that's going to be read in court, it needs to be, comprehensive, compliant. So really, I think our documentation is top notch, and having so many PI offices choose us, I think, represents that. ChiroSpring is a powerful EHR and has a great customer service. So I think this one's huge. I wanted to show this one specifically to say everyone's on a different tech level, right? Everyone's tech savvy is a little bit different. And similar to what we said before, you can have all the features in the world, but if you're not using them, what value are they? So not only having a powerful EHR that's user-friendly, easy to use, but has great customer support. So anyone on your team has questions, needs help, wants to run through something, you have an expert at ChiroSpring to support you along that road. All right. So I kind of leaned in. I teased to this just a little bit, but what's coming next? So ChiroSpring is always developing. We, again, with some of the integrations we discussed, our payments, our two-way texting with the patient mobile app, we have not always had everything within that, so two-way texting came first, then appointment reminders, then reviews, then the automation of reviews. And so we do, excuse me, just continue to expand across the board. And what we're doing, sorry, let me take a drink of water here for just a minute. What we're really doing is working within what we call initiatives. So to make things clean, thorough, complete, going through these various initiatives. So right now we're in a billing initiative. That's going to take us through the end of the summer. I mentioned to keep that personal injury one at the top of your forehead, because we have an attorney reconciliation tool that is coming. I saw it. We do our tech calls on Wednesdays. So they kind of gave us a preview of these things. It is really cool. So now when you get those attorney checks, you're going to be able to go in kind of similar to how, like in the olden days where you would post an EOB or, post a pay or check, similar to that type of workflow. But you're going to be able to go in there, post that check with one button, write off the difference, done and done. Just going to make your life that much simpler. I know a lot of offices are doing those manually right now. We also have an ERA center that is in its final stages of beta testing with about a handful of our current clinics. They're absolutely loving it. The ERA center is actually beautiful. So just giving your office more control over your billing. So everything's staying the same as it is now. Still going to be able to electronically submit your claims. Those can auto post. But you also have the option where you could shut the auto post off now. In the ERA center, you can review your ERAs, edit them right in your EHR, right on the ERA, and then click a button to post that. So you're going to have that middle road if you want it. So again, just giving you more flexibility, more control. There's an ERA error center included with that. And then it's also just bringing more things. So your ERAs are linked on your claim history log now. You can just very, very quickly from any data service, any claim log history, click and see that. So it's just very cool on the back end. These updates now with everything already integrated, we're able to have a lot of fun with it for your office. Payer provider overrides is another one. Every payer in every state is just a little bit nuanced. So I shouldn't say that not everyone, there is a structure and a consistency that follows, but you're definitely going to have situations where we have them where the provider bills, one way to this payer and a different way to this payer for whatever reason. The data that's pulled on the HICVA is different. And so within the EHR, you just have to write those rules. And so we still do have all those rules on the back end. So during billing, you can work with our team and we'll add those overrides. Now we're bringing those overrides and more of them to the front side. So you can set up, you can see, you can change, again, just more flexibility, more accessibility for you as the office. On deck, we talked about this just a minute ago, a reports initiative. I am super excited about more graphs, more KPIs, more data at your fingertips. We have a treatment note initiative. We kind of talked about that earlier. There's a lot of things coming in with treatment notes, the potential of AI enhancement. So looking at that coming into 2025, potentially beginning of 2026, as well as continuously expanding our growth and patient engagement tools. And then just ongoing, we already highlighted this, but we're integrating AI across the board in slow chunks. We are really looking deeply at the power of it, obviously the compliance, the complexity of it, but we want to enhance your operational efficiency and elevate your practice management experience. So awesome. I'm going to, and actually, if you've been on our webinars before, Luke, who's usually with me, had a little one recently. I am so excited for him and his family. So we have Audrey on with us today. She's going to join in. We'll go through some of the questions, but while we're doing that, if you want to chat about anything we went through today, or if you're ready to audit your practice management systems, book a demo with me. We can talk through anything and I can dive into ChiroSpring and see how that can help you scale and grow your practice. Hey, Audrey, are you there?
Yes. Hi, Nicole.
Awesome.
We have 3 questions. The first one is, how can smaller or solo chiropractic practices affordably transition to cloud-based EHR systems without disrupting their workflow?
That is a great question. And so, now with cloud, that is making that, again, just so much more efficient for the practices. So you can transition affordably. When you choose a cloud-based system, you're going to have minimal to sometimes no upfront cost. And because cloud systems don't require specific computers, hardware, servers, that also reduces your hardware expenses and your IT maintenance. So I find a lot of times when I'm switching offices, they're able to reduce their costs monthly. And same thing when you are bringing, you're using the one I did yesterday, they literally had 7 different systems, one for email, one for text and appointment reminders. They had a clearinghouse they logged into and did everything in there. They had their actual, EHR. They had, I think it was Acuity for their scheduling. So, I mean, they logged into 7 different places, and then you're paying for those 7 programs. So reducing a lot of times on those sides as well. But also a big thing with ChiroSpring I want to highlight is we provide a guided onboarding process. We have data migration support and training resources to really ensure a smooth transition. To avoid workflow disruptions, we really guide you through a process of when you start, you're going to keep your certain flow, and we're going to guide you through a live date of really training you, getting things going, migrating your data before you're going live with the new software. So you're going to be ready. And we definitely see offices that will implement these in phases. So they may turn on their scheduling and their notes very quickly, maybe their billing following, or even vice versa sometimes.
Wonderful. Our second question is, what are some real-world examples of how AI and EHRs is improving patient outcomes or streamlining administrative tasks in chiropractic settings?
Yeah, absolutely. So we were kind of talking about this earlier with our billing assistant, but AI with ChiroSpring's AI billing assistant is really guiding you through making the best coding recommendations. Or, I mean, we're giving you coding recommendations. So, guiding you through, having the best claims that are going to get submitted, they're going to get paid in a timely fashion. So, not only reducing and streamlining the manual effort, the administrative tasks, but getting you paid quicker. I think one of the biggest things I learned in my investment class in school is $1 today is more than $1 tomorrow. The appointment history with the when you're scheduling patients is really, really nice. It's going to help you really identify those gaps, those holes, patients that no show a lot, patients that reschedule a lot. I'm seeing more practices that are even taking down or deposits now on appointments. So giving you the data you need to make, better decisions with that. But also, as AI expands within the EHR world, we can definitely see a day where it could automatically generate SOAP notes, flag incomplete documentation, or even predict patient behavior based on historical data. So practices using, AI-driven documentation tools, could reduce their charting by 30%, which is obviously a guesstimate until we run those things. But, now they're able to really, you can go through your appointment. You don't have to click, type, or hit anything. It's going to be able to listen to everything you're doing and then just generate a beautifully formatted report that you could submit to, again, for a personal claims, for a workers' comp, at the highest level value, and can also lead to better engagement and outcomes with patients as you're able to get more aggregated data.
Awesome. And then I have one last question for you, unless anybody else has any questions they want to put in the questions tab. But with increasing emphasis on value-based care, how can chiropractors use EHR data to demonstrate treatment effectiveness and improve reimbursement?
Great question. These are awesome questions here. So definitely EHRs can provide the data is huge. I think the biggest thing, and we all know this, right, is we think about, I always say, the money is in the data, the value is in the data, but then it's how you use that data. So EHRs can provide clinical outcomes over time. So like if you're doing pain level scores, range of motion, functional assessments, when you have that data, then chiropractors can show the evidence of improvement and tie that to specific treatments that were done over that time period. So, really supporting value based care models that reward outcomes. Additionally, EHRs can generate custom reports. And I think that's why, if you heard me a few times over the presentation today, I am overtly excited for our reports initiative. Reports are going to be able to help you with care guidelines, justify reimbursements, help you participate in various programs like incentive programs. So yeah, with the proper EHR, and then with that EHR, you being able to, collect that data, use that data, and choosing an EHR that's evolving so you have those opportunities is really huge for your practice. Let me go back. I have the other screen open. I don't see any other questions here, but I may miss them. I think it's just the questions. We used to have a question and a chat line open, and then I would really miss some sometimes. I think it's just the questions now. I don't hear Audrey, so I think we're good. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. You should get a recording of this if you want to watch it after. And please do grab some time with me. We can chat and discuss all of this further. But have a great day.